Okay, everybody, it is your favorite, whatever the heck you think I am. I am, of course, Nick Dutch, professional tarot reader extraordinaire, and general experimental occultist in order to try and find out what's true, and rather peculiar truth seeker in my own right. I've got a couple of inquiries which have come through on my YouTube feed, and I think these things need a bit of talking through because I think they do. One of them is how to protect yourself from demonic spells. Now, this is a curious inquiry because it also connects with the fact I had a customer earlier on today who was actually terrified of there being black magic against them and not really knowing what to do about it. I don't think anyone knows 100% what to do about it, apart from the fact that there are theories about how energies operate. There are hypotheses about how energies operate. There are ideas that people have come up with from various different points of view. Even from the more atheistic ones, which say, make sure you've got lots of friends in your community and you're members of good things, and then you'll start to feel more warm and more protected, more loved, and not have to worry, or just focus your attention away from anything even remotely associated with these things, and that will protect you. Other people would suggest you go full-blown occultist and start baptizing your house with charged salt water and smudging with with sage around the house. And others would say that the demon is not something which is outside of you; it's within you. You've got to draw it out with a ritual salt water bath. And maybe all of these things have some kind of merit, but also we don't always know precisely what the natural cause of a particular apparent symptom is, and so therefore it's very difficult to call something a spell, or indeed very difficult to call something specifically demonic, when essentially the word demon has got so many different interpretations that it doesn't really hold any water. It's just like the word magic has also been used in so many different ways that it's completely lost any real concrete meaning, really, the way that people understand it. So how would you protect yourself from a demonic spell? Firstly, I would make sure that you make yourself as physically healthy as you're able to. Make sure you're eating right, make sure your diet and nutrition is good, do an exercise routine, maybe do a Pilates class. Also, from a psychological and spiritual point of view, if you're not a member of a church or faith-based denomination, join something which is good for you and turn it into a regular routine that you've got, because that'll provide you with more personal inner strength psychologically and also socially, which will then give you a certain level of protection against what you might feel to be negative forces through connecting to a larger group of people who follow a particular egregorial chain. So Christianity or paganism or whatever is your thing, or Judaism, or in my case it's Unitarianism, because that's where I feel comfortable. But either way, just doing that will provide you with a certain level of strength. Also do things which are esteemable for yourself, and also esteemable in terms of what other people think, because the more self-esteem you develop, the stronger your opinion of yourself develops, and therefore the less likelihood any form of negativity could then find a fingerhold, so to speak, in your psychology and try and weaken you. Alright, you try and make yourself stronger in that respect. You might also want to incorporate some forms of meditation, even if it's something simple like positive affirmations, or maybe even visualizing a ball of brilliant white light around you. I actually spoke to a client at one time who said that her psychic defense visualization was an entire sphere around her, which had on the outside perfectly shiny reflective metal, so that if there were any lasers fired at her, it would bounce back. And on the inside of the shiny metal there was concrete to protect against nuclear blasts, and inside that there was thick oak wood in case there was any other sharp projectiles which could be fired in and can pierce through the metal. Something along those lines. Or was it a different order? The metal, then the wood, then the concrete, I think. And she would visualize this very strongly, and that would give her a sense of protection and strength when she's performing her meditations, or when she's just trying to shield herself off. Another thing that you can do is get yourself some variety of amulet. Alright, any variety of amulet for any particular purpose, and in your own meditation and prayer time, charge it. hold on to it and say, this is the thing which is going to protect me. I imbue this with the power of whatever, the higher power you believe in, or the divine force that you're connecting to, or even if you're an atheist, you can imbue it with the wisdom of like Newton and Pythagoras, or whatever else it is that you personally regard as being good, in the name of Richard Dawkins. I don't know. That has to be up to yourself, but it's a question of taking your mind and building an association with something which you feel will give you that extra bit of strength and encouragement during like little periods of time. As I say, we don't always know what is real and what is not in these things. We have to be honest with ourselves and say that sometimes we could even be deluding ourselves, couldn't we? We could be making a mistake. I could be having an allergy or a nutritional deficiency, or a fungal or mold infection, which could be causing me all kinds of weird symptoms. I once had a mold infection, and I had terrible dreams. It was like something from the Hellraiser movies. I was suddenly down this country road, and there was a procession that suddenly appeared in the midst of all these characters in weird costumes in black, and they were juggling and breathing fire, and there was no one else around in this dream, just me. And I thought, I don't know what to do. I'll just clap and I'll applaud, yes, because it was like a very, very vivid waking dream. A lucid dream, very, very peculiar, and that was just based on a mold infection. So we can get physical things which can affect us. If you are financially well disposed, I would definitely suggest getting yourself a Spooky 2 rifle machine. If you are financially well disposed. If you're not, then don't worry about that. Get yourself a Halder Clark zapper, because that can be used to reduce some of the load of pathogens inside your body. Not all of it necessarily, but some of it. And because of that, that will then increase physical wellness. Physical wellness can then translate into mental strength, and that can then be good for you. All right, but do definitely look at your diet and nutrition anyway. Make sure you have a good supplement routine, which you've checked out with a qualified naturopath or dietitian or whatever. Okay, and work on that side of things. And the other aspect is to make sure you're keeping yourself away from people who are harmful to you. So join the right clubs and societies, stay out of the pubs and the nightclubs and the off licenses, okay? Put things into your body which will be good for you. Put things into your mind that will be good for you. Read extensively, okay? Connect with people who can encourage you and can strengthen you, and in whose company you are welcome. Because if you feel unwelcome in one particular environment, that's going to have a knock-on effect upon your self-esteem, and that's going to make things harder for you long term. So there's lots of ways in which you can do things, from the deliberately superstitious, all right, through to the deliberate improvement of your life and your life path. But again, we have to say, what is this spell? Who do you think has done it? Why do you think it's been done? And where is the hard evidence for this? We have to break these ideas down and look closely at all the various different symptoms that you've got and work out what is possibly being caused by what. In order to make life even easier for yourself, go to a Christian spiritualist church and get yourself some spiritual healing whenever they can do it. Or alternatively, find a professional spiritual healer and get them to work upon your aura and your energy field and to fill you up with good stuff, because essentially they might be able to emotionally help. I am of the opinion that people who've got mental diseases should not only do everything the doctor tells them to, but should also go to a spiritual healer anyway. All right, I think that there is an importance to that, because it does change things somehow. It just does. All right, I've felt it. I've been there. I've received it. I know that. I've given it. So that's a very useful thing to do. And sometimes even something innocuous could be used as a defense method. A curved mirror. Some people, there's fisherman floats. There's glass ball fisherman floats. They had a superstitious meaning of reflecting out of your home the evil eye. So then they were used like what they were called witch balls, I think they were, which would be like a polished glass or bowl of some description that will be hung up to reflect evil out. All right, but that's an important bit of psychology. If you could sit down and meditate with it and charge it and visualize it not just being there hanging on your wall, but visualize it expanding around your whole house or around your whole aura, so that you've got that sense of protection all around you. Other things you could do could be using the lesser rite of pentagram. which I'm sure there's plenty of YouTube videos about. I'm not going to demonstrate that because I look like a lunatic doing it, but never mind. But these are just some hypotheses of things that you could do. Maybe you want to incorporate things like a ritual salt bath alongside it as well, just to do that once a week to just like drain some of the negative or toxic energy out of your system and into the plug hole. That's, you know, it's a question of taking all the various different components and working out what works best for yourself, really, and what works to change the energy yourself. But finding a good healer would be a good thing. I don't think it's worthwhile paying for someone to do a spell for you. It just wouldn't necessarily help you. It's the way in which you're living your life that protects you the best. And adding more little practices here and there just to try and help out. Okay? So that's how to protect yourself from demonic spells from the point of view and the mind of Nick Dutch. I'll get on to a few other things shortly. Okay, look after yourself, keep cool, relax, chill out, don't go crazy, and I'll speak to you very shortly.